Σήμερα είναι μια ιδιαίτερη τιμή και χαρά όταν υποδέχεσαι έναν άνθρωπο ο οποίος αποτελεί έμπνευση για εκατομμύρια... Αποτελεί ιδιαίτερη τιμή και χαρά όταν υποδέχεσαι έναν άνθρωπο ο οποίος είναι, παρότι είναι νέος πολύ, αποτελεί ήδη σύμβολο για τους αγώνες που έχει δώσει, για τους αγώνες που τον έχουν κατατάξει αυτή τη στιγμή ως έναν άνθρωπο ο οποίος δεν έχει φοβηθεί, συνεχίζει να μην φοβάται και συνεχίζει να εμπνέει ανθρώπους να μην φοβούνται. Στον αθλητισμό, κατά περιόδους, έχουν εμφανιστεί αθλητές οι οποίοι με το παράδειγμά τους έχουν περάσει το δικό τους μήνυμα. Από το κίνημα των Μαύρων Πανθήρων, από το κίνημα το Black Lives Matter, από διάφορα κινήματα που κατά περιόδους αθλητές έχουν επιδείξει την θέληση να εκδηλώσουν την εναντίωσή τους σε κάτι που τους ενοχλεί. Ο Ενές όμως έχει κάτι διαφορετικό. Έχει μια διαχρονικότητα. Δεν αντιστάθηκε μόνο σε ένα θέμα, δεν εναντιώθηκε μόνο σε μία κατάσταση, αλλά έχει επιδείξει κάτι, κατά την άποψή μου, μοναδικό, το να μπορέσει να καλύψει ένα μεγάλο εύρος πολιτικών θεμάτων χωρίς καμία ιδιοτέλεια, όπου έβαλε και συνεχίζει και βάζει τη ζωή του και σε κίνδυνο και έχοντας χάσει πάρα πολλά από αυτήν όμως την θέλησή του, η οποία προέρχεται από τη δική του δύναμη, τη δύναμη ψυχής. Σήμερα θα παρουσιάσουμε το βιβλίο «Στο Όνομα της Ελευθερίας» από τις Εκδόσεις Παπαζήση. Ευχαριστώ καταρχήν πάρα πολύ. Ευχαριστούμε όλοι όσοι συμμετέχουμε εδώ για την τιμή που μας έκαναν οι Εκδόσεις Παπαζήση. Να μπορέσουμε να παρουσιάσουμε το βιβλίο ενός ανθρώπου που αποτελεί έμπνευση για εκατομμύρια ανθρώπους, για όσα έχει κάνει και συνεχίζει να κάνει. Αντί για μια έτσι στεγνή και στήρα παρουσίαση, είπαμε να το κάνουμε κάπως διαφορετικό. Μαζί με την Έλενα Αλεβίζου, η οποία είναι εξαιρετική δημοσιογράφος στα διεθνή πολιτικά, με τον Δημήτρη τον Καρίδα, την φωνή του μπάσκετ στην Ελλάδα και της αφεντιάς μου που έχουμε αυτή τη χαρά. Θα βάλουμε τον συγγραφέα να μιλήσει για το βιβλίο μέσα από ερωτήσεις. Καταρχήν το βιβλίο, θα κάνω λίγο ένα spoiler, όχι για να χαλάσω τις αγορές, τις πωλήσεις του βιβλίου, ελπίζω να βοηθήσει. Έχει τόσο δυνατή πλοκή που ξεκινάει με μια σκηνή η οποία θα έκανε μάλλον και τον Tom Cruise στο Mission Impossible να ζηλέψει λίγο τον Ενές. Το πώς κατάφερε να ξεφύγει από την Ινδονησία. Έτσι δεν είναι, Έλενα?
Yes, hello. I'm going to be talking in English for Enes. Hello, Enes. In your book, you describe how you actually had a very dangerous and a very risky travel trip to get away from Indonesia. I would like to ask you, what is the most intense, the most lasting picture in your mind that will stay there forever from that trip you did?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you guys for having me. This is a beautiful gathering. Every time I come to, Greece, the moment I step on the floor, the moment I step on this country, people are opening their arms and giving me a warm welcome. So I want to say huge thanks to all the Greek people out there, all the Greek fans out there. By the way, do we have a translation that is going to translate to Greek? I'm trying to see if I'm not talking any fast or not. We're good, right? Okay, we're good. Okay, perfect. I just wanted to see if I'm talking any fast or not. This book was very emotional. The reason is because it doesn't only just talk about me. It talks about millions of other people's story. You asked me what was the most emotional part. I think I went to Indonesia to organize basketball camps. Part of my work, I go around the world. I bring kids from all walks of life. We bring Muslims, we bring Jews, we bring Christians, Catholics, whoever they are, whatever their color, whatever their background. We try to bring them together and we organize basketball camps. I think in a world that is so divided, the one message that can bring people together is sports. So I went to Indonesia to organize basketball camps, and just because of I wanted to speak up about some of the problems that are happening in Turkey, the Turkish government tried to kidnap me over there. But luckily, huge thanks to my managers over there, that we got the word early and we escaped the country immediately. And if you didn't get that word early, I wouldn't be here right now.
I also asked you what was the most intense moment. Like if you think about it, Mr. Vradeli said it's almost like a movie. So if we
Like Mission Impossible movie, yeah.
yeah. So how could you share with us the most intense moments that you actually witnessed while doing this very dangerous and risky trip?
I think the most intense part was when they revoked my passport and put my name on Interpol list. Let me just go back a little bit. I want to tell you guys what is the reason that this Turkish government is after me and try to make my life live in hell and try to kidnap me in a foreign country. So back in 2013, there was a huge corruption scandal happened in Turkey. President Erdogan and his family was involved in it. And that was the first time I came out and said something, because President Erdogan was going around and putting innocent people in jail, innocent journalists in jail, and shutting down media outlets. And I was like, I don't care who you are, but if you are fighting against free media, I'm going to say something. So as a basketball player, I said something. Because of the platform, it became a huge conversation in the United States and Turkey. And after that, I started to pay attention about what's going on in my country more and more. And I just, every time I said something, it was becoming a huge conversation. That is the reason that it is Turkish government is not only after me, but only after thousands of other families out there who are purely innocent. That is the reason that they try to kidnap me and they revoke my passport. I am now only allowed to travel to 29 countries in the world, and luckily, Greece is one of them. So because of that, I'm very happy. But the reason that they're after me is because of I speak out.
Ωστόσο, παρά την περιπέτεια που είχε στην Ινδονησία, συνεχίζει στη Ρουμανία, γνωρίζοντας ότι βρίσκεται σε κίνδυνο. Δεν ξέρω αν αυτή η καταγραφή, όπως την κάνει στο βιβλίο, την έχει ηρωποιήσει ή εκείνη τη στιγμή δεν καταλάβαινε τι έκανε ο Ενές. Το να φύγεις, έχουν προσπαθήσει να σε απαγάγουν στην Ινδονησία και βρίσκεσαι στη Ρουμανία γιατί έχεις δώσει μια υπόσχεση να κάνεις ένα κάμπ όπως έκανες στα υπόλοιπα. Δείχνει άγνοια κινδύνου ή θέλεις να καταθέσεις το δικό σου μανιφέστο μέσα από αυτή τη διαδικασία, γνωρίζοντας ότι μπορεί και να ζήσεις μια τέτοια δύσκολη στιγμή?
Well, actually, when they revoked my passport, that was my birthday. They tried to actually kidnap me in my 25th birthday. The reason I was in Romania, because that day we had a huge cultural festival. We call International Festival and Culture. I was going to meet with 6,000 kids on a stage, and I was going to celebrate my birthday on a stage with those kids. But they didn't want me to do that. Unfortunately, they took that away from me. I had a conversation with one of the U.S. senator His name is James Langford. I had a conversation with him and he said, we can't trust anyone. You have to come back to America immediately. And then I took the first flight and went back to America.
Δημήτρη, τι έκανε ξεχωριστό τον Καντέρ? Νομίζω η πρώτη φορά που ο Ενές Καντέρ εμφανίστηκε στα μπασκετικά χρονικά ήταν στο πρωτάθλημα Under 18 στη Γαλλία 16. Το 2019.
16 παιδες. Στους παιδες.
Ήταν στους παιδες. Εγώ το θυμάμαι με τον Γιώνας Βαλαντσιάνος να δίνει ομηρικές μάχες στην Γαλλία το 2000.
Ήταν 2 χρόνια μετά αυτό.
2 χρόνια μετά. Έχει βγει MVP χωρίς η ομάδα του να έχει κερδίσει το τουρνουά. Τώρα σας κάνουμε λίγο spoiler, αλλά έχει και πολλές άλλες λεπτομέρειες. Τι τον έκανε λοιπόν ξεχωριστό, ώστε να φτάσει στα draft του NBA?
Καλησπέρα πρώτα απ' όλα. Ευχαριστώ για την πρόσκληση. Είναι χαρά μου καταρχήν που μπόρεσα να γνωρίσω τον Ένες απόψε, γιατί πραγματικά είναι μια ξεχωριστή υπόθεση για το παγκόσμιο μπάσκετ. Να πω κάτι απλά, μια κουβέντα πριν απαντήσω σε αυτό και πριν ρωτήσω και κάποια πράγματα τον ίδιο τον Ένες, ότι ούτως ή άλλως είναι ένα καταπληκτικό βιβλίο. Παρότι έχουμε την τύχη να έχουμε τον συγγραφέα του εδώ και να μπορούμε να μιλήσουμε μαζί του, ένα καταπληκτικό βιβλίο το οποίο δεν διαβάζεται σε μια τυπική, ας πούμε, βιογραφία. Είναι ένα μυθιστόρημα στην πραγματικότητα, είναι κάτι που θα μπορούσε να είναι ένα road movie, είναι η ιστορία μιας πολύ σκληρής ενηλικίωσης, πάρα πολύ σκληρής και δύσκολης ενηλικίωσης, γιατί για μένα αυτά που τον έκαναν ξεχωριστό δεν είναι μόνο μέσα στο γήπεδο, είναι το γεγονός ότι κατάφερε από, όπως πολύ πετυχημένα το λέει, από ένας παίκτης 0, ο Zero, δεν έπαιξε κολέγιο γιατί δεν μπόρεσε να παίξει στο κολέγιο για διάφορους λόγους που περιγράφονται και στο βιβλίο. Δεν μπόρεσε κατ' ουσίαν να παίξει πολύ οργανωμένο μπάσκετ στην Τουρκία παρά μόνο 1 χρονιά στην πραγματικότητα και από εκεί βρέθηκε σε μια από τις πιο ψηλές θέσεις που έχει βρεθεί ποτέ Ευρωπαίος παίκτης στο draft του NBA. Αυτό δείχνει ότι το ταλέντο του δεν κρυβότανε. Ήταν ξεκάθαρο για αυτούς που καταλάβαιναν τι έβλεπαν από τις εθνικές ομάδες, το μέλλον που είχε. Εγώ θα ήθελα να ξεκινήσω αυτή τη συζήτηση όμως κάνοντας του μία ερώτηση. Έχοντας κάνει πια τον κύκλο σαν μπασκετμπολίστας και έχοντας ζήσει από κοντά μερικούς από τους όχι μερικούς, όλους τους σπουδαίους μπασκετμπολίστες του πλανήτη, νιώθεις λίγο απογοητευμένος από την... σε ορισμένες περιπτώσεις γράφει στο βιβλίο, όπως στην περίπτωση του Κόλιν Καεπέρνικ, ότι ήταν υποκριτική η συμπεριφορά τους. Νιώθεις όμως από τους ανθρώπους που είχες είδωλα μέσα στο μπάσκετ, που είχες σύμβολα στο μπάσκετ, για να μην χρησιμοποιήσω τη λέξη είδωλο, τη λέξη σύμβολο, ότι το χρήμα, οι εμπορικές συμφωνίες τελικά είναι αυτό που καθορίζει τα πάντα και είναι πάνω από τους ανθρώπους. Νιώθεις λίγο ότι δεν είχες το κατάλληλο support από τα μεγάλα ονόματα του μπάσκετ σε αυτό που κάνεις?
Yes, I am 100% disappointed. Disappointed to all these superstars, disappointed to all these all-stars out there, disappointed to athletes who call themselves more than an athlete. The reason I'm disappointed is because I wanted to create a story, and that story has nothing to do with politics. I don't care if you are from the right, from the left, whoever party you're cheering for, or whoever president you wanted to be, you wanted to be elected. This book or this message has nothing to do with the politics. This is pure human rights. It talks about basic human rights. It talks about freeing the political prisoners. It talks about to help people out there and be the voice of all those innocent people out there who don't have a voice. I wanted to create a story where everyone can join. I wanted to create a story where people can use their platform to amplify the message of freedom and peace. And many of my teammates and many of the superstars of the NBA unfortunately didn't want to talk about these issues because they know as soon as they talk about the problems are happening, for example in China, right? All their endorsement deals will be cut, and all their shoe sales and all their maybe NBA contracts will come to an end. So unfortunately, I reached out to everyone. Forget about the NBA. I try to reach out to the football players, the NFL players, NHL players. I actually even try to reach out to Olympians. I was like, listen, this is the message of peace. This is the message of human rights. Join me. Let's create a movement, right? And then we can talk about it. We can inspire the next generation. And this is what they said. Actually, it really broke my heart. They said, what you are doing is so brave. Keep doing what you're doing. We support you, but we just cannot do it out loud. I was like, why? They said, well, we have shoe deals. We have endorsement deals. We want to get another contract. I was like, put yourself in their shoes. If your mother, if your sister, or if your daughter was in those concentration camps and getting tortured every day, if your family members was in those prisons for no reason, getting tortured every day, would you still pick money and business over your morals, values, and principles? When I ask that question, they usually turn around and leave the locker room. You know, I want people to understand this. You guys might see my picture on the cover, but this story is not about me. This is the story of millions, because this story is bigger than myself, bigger than basketball, bigger than NBA. So that's why I might be in the cover, but this story is not only about me. It's about the millions of other people who are searching for their voice.
Μία από τις πλέον χαρακτηριστικές στιγμές για αυτό που περιέγραψε ο Ενές είναι η απάντησή του στον LeBron James. Γιατί είναι ο Ενές Καντέρ από τη μία, από την άλλη είναι ο ζωντανός θρύλος του NBA, ο LeBron, και ένα tweet του Ενές είναι αυτό που πυροδοτεί πολλές έτσι εξελίξεις. Γενικώς έχει πολλές, όχι κόντρες, ήθελε πάντα να λέει την αλήθεια του και πολλές φορές βρέθηκε απέναντι από όλα αυτά τα συμφέροντα. Έχει όμως ένα ενδιαφέρον ότι μια σταδιοδρομία στο NBA, Δημήτρη, έχει συνήθως μια διάρκεια 4,5 ετών. Ο Ενές έκανε 11 χρόνια στο NBA και σίγουρα θα μπορούσε ακόμα να κερδίζει πολλά εκατομμύρια με τα συμβόλαιά του, εάν αποφάσιζε να βάλει αυτό που λέμε στην Ελλάδα λίγο νερό στο κρασί του.
Αυτό είναι φανερό, εξάγεται από τις σελίδες του βιβλίου. Εξάλλου έτσι ήρθε και το τέλος του με τους Boston Celtics στην πραγματικότητα, όταν κατάλαβε και ο ίδιος ότι είναι η τελευταία του σεζόν στο NBA. Εγώ θα ήθελα να ρωτήσω κάτι που ας μου επιτραπεί να μπω λίγο στα χωράφια της κυρίας της παρέας, διότι δεν είναι ερώτηση καθαρά αθλητική, αλλά έχει σχέση και με τον αθλητισμό. Αν νιώθει αυτή τη στιγμή ότι το τίμημα που πλήρωσε η οικογένειά του, όχι ο ίδιος, η οικογένειά του για όσα έκανε, ειδικά τα μέλη που είναι πίσω στην Τουρκία, είναι πολύ βαρύ. Ξέρω ότι το γράφει, όχι δεν το ξέρω, το γράφει ο ίδιος στο βιβλίο του, τους είχε προειδοποιήσει, είχε πει από την αρχή ότι θα αλλάξει η ζωή σας από εδώ και πέρα, αλλά αυτό είναι μία πλευρά του νομίσματος. Έχει να τους δει, έχει να τους μιλήσει από το 2016, αν δεν κάνω λάθος. Πιστεύεις, Ενές, ότι το τίμημα ήταν πάρα πολύ βαρύ? Αν εσύ είχες πάρει τις αποφάσεις σου, γιατί εσύ ήξερες πού βαδίζεις και τι θα αντιμετωπίσεις, μήπως τελικά για την οικογένειά σου αυτό είναι ένα πολύ βαρύ τίμημα που πληρώνει ακόμη?
Right. There is nothing more important than family. There is nothing more important than, being, together with your mom and with your brothers and sisters, with your dad. There's nothing more important than family. But I had to make a decision. And many people called me crazy. Many people couldn't even believe it, especially my teammates. One of my teammates actually asked me this question. They're like, listen, what are you doing? You have family members back in Turkey. You have your mom, and you haven't seen them, 11, 12 years. Like, just shut up and play basketball. He was right. But I want people to understand, my family is only one story. There are thousands of families are in jail right now waiting for help. There are thousands of kids are in jail right now waiting for help. Even in this room right now, there are many people, left their wife, left their husband, left their kids to come here to start a new life. But unfortunately, because of the dictatorship in Turkey, they had to escape. So this is not easy. Do I miss my mom? Of course. Do I miss my dad? Do I miss my siblings? Yes, of course. But right now, when you guys go out there, and you guys can search about this as well, you look at Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, Human Rights Foundation, and many other think tanks. There are thousands of kids are in Turkish jails right now waiting for help. We're talking about kids. We're talking about infants. We're talking about babies, So, yes, my mom, my dad is so important to me. But we gotta do whatever we can to help those kids in jail. Because they should be in parks, they should be in schools, they should be in playgrounds, they should not be in jail. So, yes, my family is very important, and I haven't seen them, since 2015. Yeah. So it's been like almost 12 years now. But I know this is going to sound very crazy, but the message of freedom is even bigger than my family. Because we're only talking about one family, but there are thousands of them in there, and you guys don't know their story. Why? Because they are not an NBA player. So my job was take my story as an example and use my story to talk about thousands of others.
Έλενα, η οικογένεια για τον Ενές παίζει πολύ σημαντικό ρόλο. Έχει γεννηθεί στην Ελβετία, έχει πάει στην Τουρκία στα 8, αλλά μέσα στο βιβλίο περνάει πολύ έντονα η παρουσία της μητέρας.
Ναι, ακριβώς. So what I would like to ask you, Enes, in regards to your mother, in your book, she's described as a person who played a key role in your life and in the actual activism that you have and all the values that she gave you. And I would like to ask you, is she the main person that influenced your life so much?
Yes, actually, she's one of the main persons because let me picture you guys at Turkey under Erdogan. So I grew up east side of Turkey, the city called Van, V-A-N. So if you were a politician in Turkey, right, and if you want to be elected again, you do a couple things. Unfortunately, you attack the other side. And what is the other side? You attack the West, you attack Europe, you attack Americans, especially you attack Greece and Greek people. And unfortunately, the base is so uneducated, they believe everything that comes out of those politicians' mouth. And Erdogan is using that propaganda to be reelected again. So when I was growing up, right, all I heard on TVs and newspapers and channels and media outlets, how, I'm sorry I'm saying this, but how terrible the Greek people are, unfortunately. How bad the Greek culture is. How terrible the Greek foods are, because it's a propaganda. And what do? You learn, you don't born with that hate, you learn to hate. And with my national team, for the first time, when I came to Greece, we played like a little tournament. And everybody was greeting us with open arms. So that put a little question mark in my head. And I started to do research. And years later, I visited Greece after I was done playing basketball, right? The love and the hospitality and the warmth and friendship that Greek people have shown me and also my friends, I was like, I cannot believe it. I cannot believe there are millions of kids in Turkey right now growing up anti-Christian, anti-West, anti-Greek, just because of those hate speeches coming from those politicians' mouths. So that's why now at least twice, sometimes more, maybe 3 times a year, I come to Greece and I organize these basketball camps where I bring Greek people, Greek kids together and with Turkish kids, and we just play basketball. And they learn from each other. They shake hands, they give hug to each other. And that was the message of my mom. Do not hate anyone before you meet them. I don't care whoever you are. You could be Muslim, Jew, Christian, black, white, whoever you are. Before I cannot hate you because I gotta meet you first. Then I can make my decision. So do not hate anyone before you meet them. Don't listen to those politicians and make a decision because, I mean, we are our literally closest neighbor and closest ally. So.
Οπότε ο Ενές έχει αυτά τα βιώματα και παρότι ζει σε μια περίοδο που και στην Τουρκία μισούν τους Αμερικανούς και είναι σημαίες, τον καλούν να συμμετάσχει και αυτό σε τέτοιες καταστάσεις. Ο ίδιος έχει αυτή την φιλοσοφία που του έχει περάσει η μητέρα του. Υποθέτω μία από τις πιο δύσκολες προσωπικές στιγμές ήταν το 2018 όταν η οικογένειά σου έβγαλε δημόσια μία δήλωση αποκήρυξή σου. Το περιγράφεις στο βιβλίο, απλά θα ήθελα από εσένα να το μεταφέρεις την ημέρα που έρχεται η δήλωση αποκήρυξης από τους γονείς σου, τα συναισθήματά σου, τα ερωτήματα και αν κατάφερες ποτέ να μάθεις πώς και γιατί οδηγήθηκαν σε αυτή την πράξη.
So, my family has publicly disowned me. This is the reason why. First, when I started to talk about the Turkish government and their violation, first, they fired my dad. My dad was one of the biggest scientists in Turkey. They fired him. My sister went to medical school for 6 years and she still cannot find a job. I think the saddest story was my little brother because he wanted to be like his big brother, play basketball in NBA, but he was getting kicked out of every team because of the same last name. So they were getting pressure so much, they had to put a statement out there and said, we are disowning Enes. I remember seeing that letter for the first time and I actually went to practice that day. I'm so thankful for my teammates because they were like my family, they were like my brothers. Their support meant so much to me. And after that, Turkish government didn't believe that. They sent police to my house in Turkey and they raided the whole house and they took every electronics away. Phones, computers, laptops, iPads, because they wanted to see if I am still in contact with my family or not. They couldn't find no evidence because I wasn't, but they still took my dad in jail for a while. But we put so much pressure from America with the media and the politicians to Turkey, they had to let him go. So let me tell you a little bit about the Turkish jails. If you are someone who are not high profile or well known, they will torture you in those jails. But if you're someone who are high profile, they give you chemicals that mess up with your brain. So when my dad got out, I asked my brother, how is my dad doing? He said he does not act the same way. He watches the walls all day, and when we ask him what happened in there, he never talks about it. I'm not blaming anyone, or I'm not even saying that, you know, they poisoned them or anything, but that is one of the tactics that they use against high-profile people, you know? So how I felt terrible because I know that Turkish government pushed my family to make that statement, and my family didn't want to make that statement. So it definitely didn't feel good at all.
Το άλλο πρόσωπο που σίγουρα Έλενα παίζει πολύ σημαντικό ρόλο στην προσωπικότητα του Enes Kanter Freedom είναι ο Gülen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right.
Let's talk about this relationship and how he has influenced your course over the years.
Well, I can call Mr. Gülen, Mr. Fethullah Gülen as like my life coach, you know? And so he believed in education. secular education. Instead of building mosques, Fethullah Gulen, Mr. Gulen, was going around and building schools and dormitories and universities because he believed that we have lots of problems are happening in our century because of uneducated people. He believed that somehow if we can educate our youth, we're going to have a better and brighter future, you know? And let me give you guys an example. When they turned Hagia Sophia into a mosque, I grew up around that area. There are many mosques around those areas that they're not even half full. So why would you change another UN heritage into a mosque? That was pure political, you know? Anyway, let's get back to Mr. Gulen. So I want to, you know, this movement school, I don't want to say Mr. Gulen's school because he always wanted to keep everything humble. Nothing is named after him because he wanted to, show the people who are actually doing the work. Anyway, so since I was a little kid, I went to, this movement school. We call it Gulen movement or Hizmet movement. Hizmet means service. Because they were given the best education in Turkey. And I remember, I grew up with his vision and mission. And when I came to America for the first time, I actually met with Mr. Gulen. When we had a conversation for the first time, I remember sitting down, he looked at me in the eye, and that was the first thing he said. He said, it doesn't matter what your background is, your religion, your skin color, your ethnicity, whoever you are. We have to leave our differences on the table and trying to find what we have in common. Because we only have one world to live. So we need to make this world better together, like as a team together. So if you're a Muslim or a Christian or a Jew or believe in God, even don't believe in God, we have to somehow come together as one and we have to make this world better. The reason that the Erdogan's government, right, keep attacking this Gulen movement, keep attacking Hizmet movements, because when Erdogan got caught for corruption scandal, the movement, the Mr. Gulen's movement, has the biggest newspaper. It's called Zaman newspaper. They have the biggest TV channels, biggest magazines, and the best journalists. And everybody was talking about this corruption scandal. Erdogan silenced everybody but Gulen movement. And then after that, he really started to persecute the people in the Gulen movement. And back in 2016, I talk about this in the book because this is a very important for the history of Turkey. Back in 2016, there was a coup attempt happened in Turkey. I'm sure you guys remember it.
Yeah.
So the night of the coup attempt, I was literally sitting next to Mr. Gulen. I was sitting right next to him. So when the coup attempt happened, one of Mr. Gulen's followers brought him the news with an iPad and said, there's a coup attempt happening in Turkey. He looked at it for a second. He raised his head up and said, please tell everyone that let's start praying for the sake of our country, Turkey. And literally 2 hours later, Erdogan came out and blamed the Gulen movement for the coup attempt. And I was literally sitting next to Mr. Gulen. Mr. Gulen or any of his followers did not have anything to do with this coup attempt. And later on, Mr. Gulen made a statement. And he said, if you guys even find one solid single evidence, I will return to Turkey. It's been almost 10 years. There is not one single evidence that Mr. Gulen or his movement or have anything to do with this coup attempt. So.
Ωστόσο, από την άλλη, ο Ενές, μιλώντας με τον Πομπέο για το πραξικόπημα, είχε άλλες πληροφορίες, αλλά Έλενα μου έκανε εντύπωση και η συνάντησή του με τον Bill Clinton, όπως περιγράφεται στο βιβλίο, και με πολλούς από τους ανώτερους Αμερικανούς, παρότι υπάρχει η συμμαχική σχέση μεταξύ Αμερικής και Τουρκίας, ένας πολύ σημαντικός παράγοντας η Τουρκία για την περιοχή, για τους Αμερικανούς, ο ίδιος έτυχε μιας υποστήριξης από πολύ ανώτερο πολιτιακό επίπεδο, αν αναλογιστούμε ότι οι συνομιλητής του ήταν μεταξύ άλλων Bill Clinton ή Ρεπουμπλικάνοι ή πρόσφατα ο πρόεδρος Τραμπ.
Yes. In your book, you talk about the U.S., the country you played basketball and the country you're living in. So you're saying that the U.S. is not a perfect country, but it is a country that gives refuge. Obviously, you feel that way because the U.S. treated you that way. But I'm just wondering, do you still believe the same today with all these things we see about the immigration politics and all these things we see, for example, in cities like Minneapolis?
Amazing question. I'm sure like not only America, but literally everyone in the world talking about what's happening in America. And let me just start with this. When I look at America right now, it is taking the first steps of Turkey. So let me just talk about this first. Turkey is a NATO ally. I love Turkey. I have no problem with my country. I want to make this very clear. I have no problem with Turkey. I have no problem with my people or with my flag. My problem is with current regime, with Erdogan regime. So when I look at America right now, it is taking first steps of Turkey. Turkey was a democratic country, and it changed in a heartbeat. When Erdogan took over, it became a dictatorship. So I live in America. Every time I turn on the channel, one side is attacking the other side, and the other side is attacking the other side. There is no peace in the country. There is always tension, and people are always like ready to fight about anything. And it is hurting the country. That's why media is so important for a country, because it can literally destroy or it can literally build the whole country up. So when I look at America right now, I see what the Republicans and Democrats are saying. What Republicans are saying that, you know, we want to know who are we letting in our country, right? We want to have a stronger background check. So are we letting ISIS members? Are we letting Chinese spies? Are we letting Russian spies? Are we letting Iranian spies? Who are we letting in our country? But at the same time, Democrats are saying that we have to train ICE better, you know, so it can treat people better, because some of these people are a true American citizens. So as an activist, my side is no side. My side is the side of humanity. My side of this is the side of innocent people. And what I'm seeing right now, it breaks my heart. Whenever I see people are getting separated and kids are getting separated from their families, it breaks my heart. But at the same time, whenever I see that America has let 11 million refugees in the country, it is unacceptable. We have to train ICE better, yes, but at the same time, we have to know who are we letting in our country. So that is my take.
Το βιβλίο έχει πολλή Ελλάδα μέσα. Καταρχήν, ο Ενές παραλίγο να φορούσε μια άλλη πράσινη φανέλα. Φόρεσε φανέλα πράσινη με τριφύλι, αλλά ήταν των Boston Celtics. Ήταν πολύ κοντά όμως να φορέσει τη φανέλα με το τριφύλι του Παναθηναϊκού, έτσι δεν είναι, Δημήτρη?
Ναι.
Ήταν ένα από τα μεταγραφικά serial.
Το οποίο βεβαίως περιγράφει και γιατί, να μην σας δώσουμε spoiler, περιγράφει και γιατί, ενώ τελείωσε η καριέρα του στο NBA, δεν ήρθε στην Ελλάδα να παίξει. Δεν ήθελα να κάνω αυτή την ερώτηση, αλλά μια και βρίσκεσαι σε αυτή την πόλη, θα πας να δεις ένα παιχνίδι του Παναθηναϊκού? Είναι άλλη ερώτηση που ήθελα να σου κάνω, αλλά απάντησε μας αυτή, μια και έφερε την κουβέντα στον Παναθηναϊκό.
So I know this is going to divide the Greek fans.
Not at all. You can.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yes,
Because I don't want.
with Panathinaikos, so
I just
yeah,
don't want
always.
Olympiacos fans to throw some bottle at us. So yes, I am a Panathinaikos fan.
Oh, good.
And some people are mad, some people are happy, but because of the green, because of Boston Celtics, even the logo looks very similar to Panathinaikos logo. I think it just looks really cool. But I won't come to any games until that Turkish coach leaves the team, because he is a very good friend of Erdogan, one. And he is doing a really bad job. I do follow their games, and I think just a couple days ago they just lost against one of the worst team in Greece, right? And unfortunately, even in EuroLeague, they're not really doing that good. So once they fire that, and I heard there are a lot of rumors out there. Once they fire that Turkish coach, I will be coming to the games, and I actually, well, not when he is a coach, but maybe after him, maybe I do want to sit down and have a conversation with the team and the team owner. And I told this in every interview I gave, I do want to play for them one day. And I'm still 32, 33 years old. I'm young, I'm healthy. So yes, I can play for them, but not until he's fired.
Παρότι...
It's a big news. There you go.
Παρότι είναι ο φίλος του με τον Οσμάν, έχει πολύ καλή σχέση. Αλλά εκτός από τον Παναθηναϊκό...
Ναι, η πάσα σου νομίζω είχε άλλο προορισμό, απλά
όχι, και ο Παναθηναϊκός είναι μια πολύ ωραία ιστορία. Ένα
πολύ ωραία
κεφάλαιο,
ιστορία, ναι.
Παρόλο που τον είχαμε εδώ, στα μέρη μας.
Ένες, προφανώς δεν το ξέρεις, δεν μπορείς να το ξέρεις, αλλά είμαστε πολύ κοντά στην περιοχή που μεγάλωσε ο Γιάννης Αντιτοκούμπο. Βρισκόμαστε σε το κομμάτι της Αθήνας που είμαστε πάρα πολύ κοντά, που μεγάλωσε ο Γιάννης Αντιτοκούμπο κάτω από συνθήκες πάρα πολύ δύσκολες. Προφανώς ξέρεις την ιστορία του Γιάννη, ίσως δεν ξέρεις ότι έχετε ένα κοινό σημείο, ότι και οι δύο διατελέσατε χωρίς πατρίδα για ένα διάστημα. Για άλλους λόγους βεβαίως ο καθένας, αλλά και ο Γιάννης εδώ ήταν ένας άνθρωπος μέχρι τα 18-19 του χρόνια χωρίς πατρίδα στην πραγματικότητα. Δεν ξέρω αν και πόσο για μας είναι ένα role model ο Γιάννης Αντιτοκούμπο για τη χώρα μας, ας πούμε, και για όσους ξέρουμε την πορεία του και τον κόπο που έκανε. Δεν ξέρουμε για σένα ποια ήταν η σχέση σου, τι αντιπροσώπευε για σένα. Γράφεις μια ιστορία για τον Bubble στο Μαϊάμι, τι έγινε. Αλλά γενικώς θα θέλαμε μια κουβέντα παραπάνω να μας πεις για τον Γιάννη. Πώς τον βίωσες και ως αντίπαλο και ως έναν άνθρωπο που προέρχεται από ένα πολύ δύσκολο περιβάλλον, από μια δύσκολη διαδρομή μάλλον.
You know, I played against Giannis I played against him for 10 years, and trust me, it was not fun at all. It was almost impossible to guard that guy. It's just a God-given talent, and obviously his ability to just dunk everything was just making the game so fun. Not for me, but for whoever's watching him. But obviously on the court, I love this game and I respect him so much. When I watched his movie, obviously he had a movie came out, and I was like, wow, he's more than just an athlete. He's bigger than sports. His story was very emotional, but through all his hardship, he never gave up on his dreams. He never gave up on his family, and he never gave up of the love of basketball. And that is the things that, like, every time he goes out there, the reason it makes him very different is because of he always stays humble. He always stays hungry. And he goes out there and just literally try to dunk on everyone that he played against. And everyone respects that. I am good friends with him and his brothers especially. But I think the young kids in Greece is very lucky to have a role model like Giannis, not only on the court but off the court. Because try to, become an NBA player from Europe is not that easy, But I'm sure there are many people, not only there but like all around Europe, are watching Giannis and want to be like him and idolizing him. So I think he is a true representative of Greece. And I hope one day maybe we can organize a joint basketball camp together. I think so. Exactly. So these kind of symbols, can bring people together and make a better friendship. And I definitely do want him to try some Turkish baklava. See if he likes it as much as the Greek baklava. So it's gonna be interesting.
Παρότι στην αρχή ο Αντετοκούμπο δεν γέμιζε το μάτι του Ενές, γιατί ήταν πολύ λεπτός, very skinny, αλλά μετά πήρε όγκο. Αλλά το τέλος, Δημήτρη, από το NBA δεν ήρθε ούτε από τον Ερντογάν, όπως γνωρίζουμε τις πολιτικές θέσεις του Ενές, αλλά ήρθε εξαιτίας των Κινέζων και μιας ιστορίας που είχε προηγηθεί με την ομάδα των Rockets, η οποία ήταν και αυτή που έδωσε και το τελειωτικό χτύπημα στην καριέρα του.
Ναι, πράγματι ήταν μια ιστορία που την παρακολουθήσαμε όλοι έχοντας περίπου την ίδια άποψη με σένα για το τι συνέβαινε, όχι τόσο μπροστά από τις κάμερες, όσο μπροστά από τις δηλώσεις, μπροστά από τα γεγονότα, όσο τι συνέβαινε πίσω από τα γεγονότα. Και δεν ξέρω αν υπάρχουν και άλλες τέτοιες περιπτώσεις που έχεις καταγράψει πια, χωρών που είναι παραβατικές, που δεν τηρούνται τα ανθρώπινα δικαιώματα και που ενδεχόμενα στο μέλλον, ανεξάρτητα αν δεν έχεις πια την αθλητική ιδιότητα, αλλά με όποια ιδιότητα διαλέξεις, του πολιτικού ίσως, θα ήθελες να μιλήσεις για αυτές όπως μίλησες για την Κίνα, πληρώνοντας ένα πολύ βαρύ προσωπικό τίμημα στην υπόθεση της Κίνας.
Right. Well, I'm not a politician yet, but if I ever win, I will be better than Erdogan. Anyway, that's a different story. But so human rights violations are happening all over the world, not only in Turkey. If you only focus on one specific issue, one specific group, or one specific country, you cannot really call yourself a true human rights activist. So when you look at the world, you look at Middle East, you look at China, you look at what's happening between Russia and Ukraine, you look at what's happening in Syria, you look at what's happening in many other countries, millions of people are suffering. People behind the tables are the one that giving the orders, but the innocent people on the streets are the one that gets hurt. That is what I care about. People are always asking me, what is my stance on this? What is my stand on that? My stance on the stand with innocent people. I don't care what their side is, what their color, what their religion is. So the world is very, very afraid to talk about one specific issue. Right now, there are between 2 to 3 million Uyghurs are in concentration camps getting tortured and raped every day. And no media outlets, no countries, not even any Muslim countries are talking about this issue. Why? Because they know that as soon as they talk about this issue, the Chinese Communist Party will destroy their economy. So for that reason, I was like, I want to take a road that is, I'm going to challenge the biggest dictatorship in the world, and I'm going to try to hold them accountable, And not only Uyghurs, but you look at Tibetans, Hong Kongers, Taiwanese people, Falun Gongs, Mongolians. They are all in big, heavy persecution. So when you talk about 2 to 3 million Uyghurs, you guys probably some of you guys might not even know what Uyghurs is, So they control the media so much, even in America, right? China controls Hollywood. China controls the NBA. China controls Wall Street. China controls academias, big tech, Congress, local Congress, farmlands. So for them, it's all about money. More people watch NBA games in China than American population last year. We're talking about $6 billion. So That is the reason I wanted to just go out there and literally expose everything, every wrongdoing, then all the organ harvesting and forced sterilization and abortion, and just put it out there. That came with heavy consequences. I mean, I was 29 years old. I could have played another 6-7 years, and 6-7 years in NBA means probably between $40 to $50 million. So it did come with very heavy consequences, but you know what? People needs to understand. This is bigger than myself. This is bigger than basketball, and this is bigger than NBA. That is the one word that our world is missing, empathy. While we are sitting here, right, wearing the best clothes, eating the most delicious food, and living in the most luxurious houses, on the other side of the world, people are losing their loved ones, losing their lives, and losing their homes. So we gotta be able to put ourselves in other people's shoes, even if it's in the other side of the world. You know, that's what I think God's work, empathy in our hearts.
Η Κίνα τον έχει, όπως περιγράφεται στο βιβλίο, τον έχει καλέσει να πάει. Απλά δεν θα του δείχναν αυτά που ήθελε να δει. Θα τον πηγαίναν μάλλον να δει τα αξιοθέατα, οπότε είπε όχι.
Yeah.
Αν θα επέστρεφε αυτό, δεν το ξέρουμε, αφού κατάφερε να διαφύγει από Ινδονησία με τον τρόπο που διέφυγε κτλ.
Και από το Λονδίνο επίσης, διότι έχει και μια παρεμφερή ιστορία
Στο
του
Λονδίνο.
αν πήγαινε στο Λονδίνο τι θα συνέβαινε.
Και ο τρόπος που τον αντιμετώπισαν οι συμπαίκτες του, εννοείται ότι δεν μπορούμε να τα πούμε όλα, γιατί είναι πραγματικά ένα εξαιρετικό βιβλίο, το οποίο παίζει σε πολλά επίπεδα. Δεν είναι η αυτοβιογραφία του Ενές. Έχει σκηνές που θα μπορούσαν να είναι από κινηματογραφική ταινία περιπέτειας. Έχει πολύ πολιτικό ακτιβισμό. Έχει εφευρετικότητα. Δηλαδή, μία από τις ιστορίες που θα ήθελα να μοιραστεί μαζί μας είναι πώς αποφάσισε να τα βάλει με την Κίνα μέσω των παπουτσιών του. Δηλαδή, έχουμε στο μυαλό μας ότι πώς τα βάζω με κάποιον. Με κάποιον μεγάλο, με μια υπερδύναμη. Ο Ενές βρήκε έναν τρόπο που πραγματικά ενόχλησε την υπερδύναμη, ενέπνευσε πολύ κόσμο και τον έχει φέρει σε ένα επίπεδο όπου αυτή τη στιγμή, ας μου επιτραπεί, νομίζω ότι συμφωνούμε, Έλενα, ότι είναι από τους πλέον επιδραστικούς ανθρώπους, σίγουρα ο πιο επιδραστικός από τους αθλητές.
Σίγουρα από τους πλέον εμπνευστικούς, θα έλεγα εγώ.
Και αντιδραστικούς και
Εμπνευστικούς.
και εμπνευστικούς, αντιδραστικούς και αυτή η ιστορία, η σύλληψη της διαμαρτυρίας μέσω των παπουτσιών, πώς σου γεννήθηκε, ποιος ήταν ο εμπνευστής και πώς πήρες την απόφαση να το πας έτσι μέχρι τέρμα, γνωρίζοντας ότι χάνεις 40 με 50 εκατομμύρια σε συμβόλαια, συν όλα τα υπόλοιπα που έχουμε συζητήσει μέχρι τώρα.
So whenever I was a little kid, probably in his age, right? Whenever I watched an NBA game, the first thing I was looking at was the shoes. What color the shoes, what brand, and literally the next day I was waking up and telling my dad, please buy those shoes for me. Every kid in the world loves shoes. You know, we call them, in America, we call them sneakerheads. You know, everybody have some kind of favorite brands, favorite color. Anyway, I did a little research, right? Right now in America, I'm not sure in Greece, but in America, there are 83 companies using slave labor. What's a slave labor? Kids in Xinjiang area in China, between the age of 8 to 16, working 16 hours a day, 6 times a week, in a very terrible and disgusting conditions. This called slave labor. So when you look at Nike, right, NBA's biggest sponsor, in America, Nike stands with Black Lives Matter. They stand with LGBTQ community. They stand with Latino community. They stand with no Asian hate, right? And they pay millions of dollars to these athletes to talk about the oppression that happening in America. But everybody knows about the sweatshops and the slave laborers back in China. I was like, if you are talking about the problems that are happening in America, you know that that is not going to affect your sales. But as soon as you say something about the sweatshops and the slave laborers, everything will be shut off. To make a shoe in China, a Nike shoe, is between $3 to $4, maybe a little more. Same shoe in America is around $200 to $300, depends on the shoe. So what these companies do, they send all their factories to that area, Xinjiang, and they start using these slave laborers to make this shoe. So I was like, you want to talk about oppression? Sure, let's talk about it. So I wanted to just expose the whole system. Every shoe that we wear, every t-shirt, like whatever we do, there are so much oppression and sweat and blood on those items. So many people are asking me this question. Okay, you're an NBA player. You have millions of followers, right? What am I going to do? What kind of change I can make? I'm not an NBA player. I don't have millions of followers. This is how simple it is. When you buy an item, you turn around, it says made in China, put it down. That's it. It's literally that simple. That's how your activism starts. It's way cheaper, but you know what? All these items that you're buying, you are literally becoming part of the genocide happening over there right now. So it's all about doing your research, and I'm sure you guys have AIs on your phones and you guys have everything you need on your internet. Do a little research and see what kind of companies in Greece right now using slave labor so you guys can stay away from those items.
Και Έλενα, τελειώνει σιγά σιγά ο αθλητής Ενές και αρχίζει ο ακτιβιστής. Βέβαια ήταν ακτιβιστής όσο ήταν αθλητής. Αλλά πλέον τα τελευταία χρόνια, παρότι έφυγε η προβολή του NBA, συνεχίζει τον ακτιβισμό και θεωρείς και τη μετάβασή του στην ενεργό πολιτική.
Yes, I was going to ask you how difficult was the transition from athletics, from basketball to activism and politics, but I think you've already answered it. So what I'm going to ask you is when, if you would like, and how, and are you going to actually be an active politician? Say, are you planning to run for Congress?
That's a tough question. So let me just make this very clear. Human rights are above politics. Like we talked about before, I don't care you're a Republican, you're a Democrat, you vote for Obama, Trump, whoever you vote for, you have to care about human rights. I think that is the one message that can bring people together. And I feel like it is too early. Why is it too early? Because once, especially in America, once you get into politics, you're going to lose 50% of America. You're going to lose half of America. Why? Because our country is so divided. And even if you stand for something so pure and beautiful, just because of the system is so corrupt, one side is always going to attack you. So I am going to wait and wait till it gets better, till people start to understand each other. And then I think it will happen. Being an activist is good, but if you actually want to make real changes, you have to be in office. You have to make some concrete actions against these dictatorships. You have to put sanctions on them. You have to write bills. You have to write resolutions and letters. Right? And once you do that, you see the real change. It's too early right now, but I think in the future it will happen. I'm not sure.
When you say future, like in the near future, or like say in 10 years' time?
5 years.
5 years time.
5 years. You want very specific details? I'll give you 5 years. But maybe in Turkey, maybe in America. But I think I will start with America. Okay. Then maybe in Turkey later on. I'm not really planning on it because Turkey needs a whole lot of change. Turkey needs more than just politicians. Turkey needs like a reset button, you know? But other than that, I think in America, it will happen, but it's just a little too early right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Πάντως σε 5 χρόνια σκέφτομαι, Δημήτρη, ότι πιθανό να μην υπάρχει ο Ερντογάν, να μην ξανακατέβει όπως υποσχέθηκε, αν θα κέρδιζε τις τελευταίες. Οπότε υπάρχει χρόνος σε 5 χρόνια για την Τουρκία.
Ή για τις επόμενες ενδιάμεσες των ΗΠΑ.
Ναι, έχει θέσει έτσι.
Επίσης σε 5 χρόνια από τώρα θα είναι περίπου στην ηλικία που επέλεξε ένας άλλος σπουδαίος μπασκετμπολίστας της εποχής του. Προφανώς έχει ακούσει το όνομα, ο Bill Bradley, να κατέβει στην πολιτική. Ο Bill Bradley, που ήταν βέβαια από διαφορετικό κοινωνικό περιβάλλον, από διαφορετική διαδρομή, ήταν ένα Princeton guy ήταν ο Bill Bradley, και έφτασε να διεκδικήσει και το χρήσμα για την προεδρία του κόμματος που αντιπροσώπευε. Οπότε ακόμη είναι νέος, έχει περιθώρια, μπορεί να φτάσει μέχρι και στο χρήσμα ενδεχόμενα κάποια στιγμή. Δεν ξέρω αν είναι αυτός ένας πραγματικός τρόπος να αλλάξει τα πράγματα. Ίσως ένα γραφείο απλά μπορεί να μην φτάνει. Να χρειάζονται πολύ περισσότερα πράγματα για να αλλάξει ο πλανήτης και να γίνει όπως τον ονειρεύεσαι.
Well, I think if you want to change the world, you don't need to be in an office. I think if you really want to change the world, it starts with our youth. Because if you really want to have a better and brighter future, we have to inspire and educate the youth. So right now, that is my 100% focus. Just go out there, organize basketball camps, sign books, and trying to bring people together. Because, like I said again, those kids have nothing to do with any war. Those kids have nothing to do with any conflict. And I don't care if they're Muslim and Jew and Christian, Catholic, black, white, red, whoever they are, They're innocent and they're kids and they are looking at us and they're watching us and they're going to follow our footsteps. So we don't want to live. When I look at our world right now, unfortunately, I don't really see a peaceful world. I think, but if we can work hard enough, I know that one day they're going to carry that message, the message of peace and the message of freedom and democracy and justice, and they're going to make this world better together. So you don't have to be in an office to make this world better. That was actually the quote of Mr. Gulen. You just have to be to try to inspire the youth so we can have a better and brighter future, and that is going to happen with education and with interfaith dialogue. So before we close, are we closing?
No, not yet.
Okay, good. Okay, because I do want to thank some people. That's why.
Μέσα στο βιβλίο υπάρχει όλη η διαδικασία της μετάβασης στην αμερικανική υπηκότητα και ότι πώς διάλεξε το επίθετο freedom. Προφανώς για λόγους να μην κάνουμε spoilers σε όλα. Εκτός βιβλίου ήθελα να τον ρωτήσω, αν και έχει αμερικάνικο διαβατήριο, είπε ότι μπορεί να ταξιδέψει μόνο σε 29 χώρες. Κανονικά με το αμερικανικό διαβατήριο μπορείς να πας σχεδόν σε όλες τις χώρες. Για ποιο λόγο έχεις αυτόν τον περιορισμό?
So that is the one tactic that many dictatorship uses. So they use their power to abuse red notice Interpol system. If you are in Turkey, if you say anything about the Turkish government, right? If you say anything against the Turkish government, you and your family members will be in jail. But if you're outside of Turkey and you tweet about it, you say anything about it, or you're a journalist and you write against them, right? They put your name on Interpol list. And if the country that you're traveling to have an extradition deal with Turkey, they have to send you back. So I am not sure if they actually revoke my citizenship. When we ask them, they don't even answer that question. But so there are many people in many different countries around the world that their name is on Interpol list. Turkey has put 65,000 people's name on Interpol list in one day. If you don't believe me, it is on internet. You guys go and fact check it. 65,000 people's name on Interpol list in one single day. So you know what that means? You're literally declaring all these names to an Interpol and say they're bad people, you gotta catch them. And Interpol obviously later on found out that this is just not believable. and we cannot trust Erdogan's government anymore, and we're not going to take this seriously. But Erdogan has kidnapped over 100 people already around the world, and some of the things that I tell you guys might be sound a little crazy, but anything I say, you guys can actually go on internet and actually fact check it. So that is the reason that I'm only allowed to travel to 29 countries. Many of them are European countries. Many of them, the countries are in EU, European Union. But I wouldn't want to risk my life and try to go to another country like Indonesia, then I would get kidnapped or return back to, or extradite back to Turkey.
Η εισαγωγή της ελληνικής έκδοσης, ο πρόλογος της ελληνικής έκδοσης, είναι γραμμένος από τον Αρχιεπίσκοπο Αθηνών και Πάσης Ελλάδος, τον κύριο Ιερώνυμο. Και θα θέλαμε να μάθουμε πώς έχει προκύψει η γνωριμία με τον Αρχιεπίσκοπο, καθώς και κάποιες από τις εμπειρίες σου που περιγράφεις, είτε με ανθρώπους του Πατριαρχείου, για να καταλάβουμε ότι αυτό που πρεσβεύεις, ότι παρότι υπάρχουν χριστιανοί, μουσουλμάνοι, Εβραίοι, δεν υπάρχει ο διαχωρισμός μεταξύ των ανθρώπων σε άλλες αξίες παρά μόνο στο κομμάτι του πιστεύω.
Right. So this is actually a very strange and interesting story. Why would a 2'11", right, NBA player just became friends with His Holiness? It's a very interesting question. We have a very beautiful friendship. Every time I come to visit, I always visit him and his students. The reason is, every time I visit him, I feel more peaceful. Every time I visit him, I feel more energetic and I feel more alive. And actually, last time I visited him, you can actually ask some of his people around him. He wanted to come to one of my basketball camps and play basketball. I was like, aren't you like a little too old to play basketball? He said, no, I will show you. No, we have a very strange but beautiful friendship. And in 2 days, I am going to visit him again. And when I learned that he accepted to write the foreword for the book, and I was just honored, almost everyone I asked, they were all scared to put anything on this book. I asked my teammates, they were scared. They said, we believe in your message, but we are scared. I asked my celebrity friends. I asked some of the singers and rappers. I even asked some of my actor friends. They said, we love the message, but sorry, just because of it involves China, we don't want to get into it. When we asked His Holiness, he didn't even think about it. He said, I got you. And you guys can read the message. It's a very ancient Greek, I guess. I tried to put on ChatGPT, and even ChatGPT was having a very hard time translating to English. But I'm sure he said some very beautiful things. But I do want to thank him from the bottom of my heart for putting his name and his endorsement and his beautiful words to a book like that, because now this is going to carry generations. This is going to start a legacy. Like 10, 20 years from now on, a kid from Greece going to pick up this book, and it's like, wow, a Turkish man, and now with his holiness. And it's a very beautiful friendship, but I'm just very happy and honored that he put his name and endorsement in this book.
Λοιπόν, επειδή αν μείνουμε κι άλλο εδώ θα αποκαλύψουμε όλο το βιβλίο και μετά δεν θα μπορέσει ο εκδοτικός οίκος να πουλήσει. Έχει πολύ ενδιαφέρον. Θα δώσω μία τελευταία ερώτηση. Πρώτα στον Δημήτρη. Ελεύθερη, είτε αφορά το βιβλίο είτε όχι. Μετά στην Έλενα, για να μπορέσουμε να κλείσουμε αυτή την παρουσίαση του βιβλίου του Ενές.
Ωραία. Λοιπόν, θα ήθελα να μου πεις κάτι που δεν το αναφέρει στο βιβλίο και κάτι που είναι μια κλασική δημοσιογραφική ερώτηση, γιατί η ιδιότητά μου παραμένει δημοσιογράφος. έστω και αν τον ελεύθερο χρόνο παριστάνω λίγο το συγγραφέα, αλλά είμαι πάντα δημοσιογράφος και θα ήθελα να σε ρωτήσω κάτι. Ποιος ήταν ο πιο δύσκολος αντίπαλος που έχεις παίξει? Ο αντίπαλος δηλαδή που πάντα σου δημιουργούσε πρόβλημα μέσα στο γήπεδο και που δεν ήθελες να τον βρίσκεις μπροστά σου.
I think the toughest opponent that I played against was Kobe Bryant. So I played against Kobe Bryant before he passed away. Obviously, you know, there are so many amazing other players like LeBron James and, you know, many other ones. But just his mentality, right? His aura and his dedication for the game, and he's waking up at like 4 a.m. in the morning and going to work out, and people are just confused. Like, dude, like wake up at 10 a.m. and eat breakfast and you can go work out at noon. You know, he's like, no. I got to go work out at 4 a.m. But that's why they call him the Mamba mentality. But I think he's definitely the toughest person that I played against. I got drafted by the NBA in 2011 by Utah Jazz. 2 months later, our schedule came out for the season. And I looked at it, my first game ever, I was going to play against Kobe Bryant, against the Lakers at Staples Center. When I looked at I promise, when I looked at our schedule, I lost my breath. I was like, there's no way my first game was going to go against Kobe Bryant. So I started the game and I came off the bench. And I remember like we lost the game by 30 points and Kobe ended up scoring for like 40 points. That was my welcome to NBA moments. But I'm definitely picking Kobe Bryant over anyone.
Thank you.
Έλενα.
Okay, so my last question is on a more personal note, because you're living a very intense life. And I'm just wondering, what is the one thing that relaxes you the most, makes you feel good in the day?
What is it? I would have, you know, I could have just give you like a politician answer. Oh, being with the kids, hanging out, and organizing basketball camps, doing good for the world. What is the one thing that actually relaxes me? My schedule has been so busy, which I haven't done it for probably 6, 7, or 8 years. Actually, going to a movie and eating popcorn.
Really? 7 years?
That just relaxes me so much. But I haven't had that for like 7, 8 years.
What was the last movie you saw?
What was the last movie I saw? I think it was like the Avengers movie.
Okay.
One of the Avengers movie.
Relaxing, yeah, of course.
So, because like my life is like usually so heavy and I have to deal with so many things and people have to like, you know, people bringing me issues all the time and I deal with death threats all the time and I have a bounty on my head now and everything.
That's why I asked you, what is the one thing that relaxes you? Yeah.
I think that is the one thing that is like going to a movie all by myself, get a popcorn and just watch a movie, put my phone on silent and just literally watch the movie and enjoy the movie. Because at the end, I'm a human. I'm not a robot, you know? And everyone needs a time for themselves for like a relaxation. So if you ask me, I think going to a movie, eating popcorn and just watching a movie definitely relaxes me, which I haven't had that for 8 years.
I hope you have that soon.
I hope so.
Για το κλείσιμο ήθελα να ρωτήσω τον Ενές αν αξίζει όλο αυτό που έκανε. Την απάντηση την έχω μέσα από το βιβλίο. Μετά από όλα όσα έχω περάσει και όσα έχω θυσιάσει, ζω με πολύ οδύνη. Η καριέρα μου και η οικογένειά μου έχουν αφαιρεθεί. Δέχομαι απειλές θανάτου και ύβρις, δημόσια και ιδιωτικά. Ζω με τη διαρκή αγωνία ότι οι αγαπημένοι μου στην Τουρκία μπορεί να εξαφανιστούν και να μην μάθω ποτέ τι απέγιναν. Και αν δεν μπορούν να βλάψουν εμένα, τότε θα βλάψουν τους ανθρώπους που αγαπώ. Και όμως, μέσα σε όλο αυτό αρνούμαι να χάσω τη χαρά μου. Όταν βλέπω τα πρόσωπα των παιδιών που βοηθώ ή των θυμάτων καταπίεσης που είναι ευγνώμονες για το έργο μου, αντλώ δύναμη από την ενέργειά τους. Τότε θυμάμαι πως όλες οι θυσίες μου για να κάνω τον κόσμο καλύτερο άξιζαν. Μπορεί μέσα μου να βράζω σαν ηφαίστειο, αλλά οι εχθροί μου ποτέ δεν θα με δούνε να υδρώνω. Χαίρονται όταν βλέπουν ότι λυγίζεις και εγώ ποτέ δεν θα τους δώσω αυτό το δώρο. Η χαρά είναι το μυστικό μου κίνητρο για να συνεχίσω να παλεύω. Έχω εγκαταλείψει τα πάντα για να αγωνιστώ για τα πάντα, γνωρίζοντας ότι η ελευθερία δεν είναι δωρεάν. Ο δρόμος μπροστά μου θα παραμείνει μακρύς και δύσκολος, αλλά είναι ο δρόμος για τον οποίο ποτέ δεν μετάνιωσα που τον πήρα. Στο όνομα της Ελευθερίας. If you want the last comment.
Of course. Well, I just want to say again, thank you guys for being here. Katerina, you're the best. Thank you for organizing this, all the news outlet and everybody. I really want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know, my family is literally like 1 hour flight from here, you know. So every time I come to Greece, I feel that. I feel that warmness, you know. I'm sure like, that's why I think like I love coming to Greece 2 or 3 times a year. Because it's such a long flight too from America. But every time I come here, my family literally like 1 hour away from here. But the one thing is, I'm not only speaking on my behalf, I'm speaking of all the, you know, Turkish people in here or out in Greece. I just want to say thank you. The reason I want to say thank you is because there are so many Turkish people are escaping Erdogan's heavy persecution and coming to Greece. And the Greek government and the people in Greece opening their arms and giving them a warm welcome. This is becoming not our second home, but is becoming our first home. When the country that we're from, that we live, that we're born, said, you guys are bad guys because you are standing for the truth. Get out of here. Greek people and the Greece was the first country that opened their door and give me and my friends a warm welcome. So I want to say thank you. And please don't listen Erdogan or Erdogan-minded people and think that Turkey is a bad country. Turkey is a lovely country. Turkey has one of the most beautiful and kind people in the world. Just because of Erdogan is going out there and making a speech and saying one day the Greek people are going to wake up and we're going to invade Greece, he does not represent every Turkish people. He only represents his cultish regime, you know? So I want to say thank you guys for being here. Go around and ask and try to have a conversation with one another, because that's when the friendship starts. That's when the family starts. So I hope the only conflict we have between two countries is whose is baklava better, Turkey or the Greek baklava. I asked that question to Mitsotakis, but I'm not going to give you his answer. It'll start a big headache for him and for me, so I'm not going to do that. But so again, all the jokes aside, thank you guys for being here. Katerina, you're the best. Thank you.
Σας ευχαριστούμε όλες και όλους που παραβρεθήκατε στη σημερινή παρουσίαση ενός πραγματικά εξαιρετικού βιβλίου. Να ευχαριστώ τον Δημήτρη και την Έλενα επίσης. Μεγάλη χαρά και τιμή να είμαστε εδώ με τον Ενές. Θα υπογράψει βιβλία για όποιον θελήσει εδώ. Οπότε μπορείτε να ξεκινήσετε για να έρχεστε να επισκέπτεστε τον συγγραφέα. Ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ.